Our greatest successes in life are often found in helping others succeed. Welcome to the Life Masters podcast, hosted by Tanya Memme. Discover real-life stories from mentors, leaders, experts, and everyday people who devote their lives to helping others succeed. Every episode takes you on a unique journey, an emotional experience, and tells a story never to be forgotten. Tune in to Life Masters with Tanya Memme and start fast-tracking your journey to success today.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Life Masters. Today is my second episode under quarantine because we all know that we're going through our own quarantine because of the coronavirus. So I have brought everything in home, and I'm actually it's been actually quite exciting for me because now I can interview people like Lara, who is in Florida. So it's been much easier having people that I can interview all over the nation and in other countries as well, instead of bringing them only into the studio in Beverly Hills. So we're looking at this in a very positive, awe-inspiring way. So Lara, I am so glad that you're here today. This is Lara Jaye. She's a soul-inspiring thought leader, CEO, intuitive advisor, international best-selling author. She's a healer, a speaker, and she's a podcast host. Lara is a master of reading and moving energy. By combining energy healing and light language, Lara moves stuck energy from people, places, land, and businesses. And I have actually seen her in action, and I'm one of her clients. And really, you are just an incredible, incredible healer. You are a certified Reiki Master, teacher, passionate entrepreneur, and light language transmitter. So I'm sure that even with that intro, you guys are all out there wondering, well, what is a light language transmitter? So let's just get right to it.
You want to go right to it. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you really are. I've heard of light language before, but I've never met anyone quite like you that actually does it and speaks it. And how did this happen? And I have so many amazing questions.
How does it happen, and how does it work, and why would you even use it?
So explain, what is it?
What is it? So light language is our original language, the original language of oneness that in the Bible talks about, in the Tower of Babel, many other religions talk about, we were originally all one, and we all had one language and a way that we communicated. And for me, when I am transmitting this, I generally a lot of times see angels and see and feel them. Basically, they speak through my voice, and they do the work and move whatever energy or do whatever healing it is that we're setting the intention for. So basically, with the light language, it's very powerful. It's a very high frequency, very high vibration that many of us are not used to. And it's becoming more and more open and popular. And I actually do it in the corporate world for the executives and a little bit of everyone, of course, but for them specifically. I'm not your typical woo-woo person. So,
Right.
As you know. So as you know, it's very intriguing, but it didn't just happen. I was it about, 2011, 2012. I'm sorry, what?
No. I was going to ask you, it's just a language that kind of comes through you, and is it something that it came from years and hundreds of years ago? You're saying people used to use this, but there's also thousands and thousands. Well, yeah, because you mentioned the Bible.
Yeah.
So how did it become to a point where people realized that it was healing people? I mean, is it from a different realm? Is it from the angel realm? Is it from...
For me, it is from the angels. I think that I can only speak to what I transmit. I know that I personally know of a handful of other people out there who do it in the world. I know that there are more who do it that don't tell anyone. And I know that I think that we all may channel someone a little bit different.
Yeah.
It just depends, because they don't all sound exactly the same. and we all
See,
have
that's
different.
interesting.
Right. So it's still the original language, and because we all have different intentions and different purposes, and we have different spirit guides helping us, and different angels helping us, so it's going to sound different,
Yeah.
and come through our own filter. And my light language that I transmit is for a different reason than what someone else does. Different purpose, like I said, different intentions.
So when you're working with somebody who
Mhm.
also works with the light language, you have to be very careful who that is and what their intentions are, because there could be,
Absolutely.
do people call light language that's not always good light language?
I
Or
think that does exist. I think that there are light and dark of everything.
yeah,
I personally believe that you've got to make sure that it resonates with you.
yeah,
Many of my clients say, it sounds so familiar. It makes me feel so good. And that was why I was so hooked to it, because it changed my life literally and helped me to heal and get well myself first. And then I started working on other people and realized, oh my gosh, this is flipping amazing.
what a gift.
And what is this? And
Yeah.
what do I do with this?
So, well, let's get right into like how this all came about. I know that you were, you're working for a very big company. I mean, you lived like the life, the white picket fence, the 2-car garage, you had the family, you had the dog, the whole, everything that everybody feels like we're all striving for in America. You had that
I had it
whole
all.
setup.
Whole setup, fabulous vacations, wonderful husband, 2 great kids, pillar of the community, all of it. That one of those Facebook picture perfect lives.
Right.
But,
And how long ago was this? And
that was probably 2011, 2012, everything just went.
now, did you have any sense from when you were a kid that your life was going to progress this way? Like before you even got to that?
No, I didn't think it was going to be awful. No,
No. I mean,
on this
become a healer.
No, I knew that I always felt like I was meant for something more. And I always wanted to speak. So when I would get around people who would speak, or I would watch, from home, being when I was home with the kids when they were little, Joel Osteen or Joyce Meyer or some of the other big names on TV, and sometimes I would go to big events and watch speakers, and I'm like, why am I not up there? Why? And I thought, well, I don't have a message. That's why I'm not up there.
But you knew there was something inside of you that
Yes. Yeah, there
was
was
something more.
something that there was always something more. And then I crashed. I hit a really, really deep, dark depression for about a decade. And
So
I
what was
thought, well,
going on in your life at the time? You're married, you've got this big job. I mean, paint that
yeah.
picture?
So I had all these, I was running a marketing company from home, raising the kids, still doing everything. I had keys to the church, taught all the Bible studies, was running a mom's group of, we had 50 moms and 50 kids twice a month. So I was, so busy, how we are, busy, trying to do everything.
Yeah.
But I was miserable and very, very depressed, and nobody knew. I didn't tell anyone, people couldn't tell. And I just thought, oh, I'm just in a little funk. And so what I would do, which is what the typical American does, what do? We get busier. We make ourselves busier.
We do.
We sign up for, right? That we sign up for
I call it running. You start running.
Right. That's what
from
I was
the
doing.
truth, right?
Yeah, I was and this coronavirus has forced us to stop running, right? And go.
Oh yeah. That's a whole thing. We are totally gonna touch on that.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway,
yeah.
I was running, anything to stay busy and to not deal with stuff.
Yeah.
And so I did that for a decade. I took antidepressants. I highly recommend them if you need them. Absolutely, I did. But what they did for me was they numbed me, and they made me not feel, which is what I wanted, right? That's what
we want. Exactly.
Supposed to do.
You want some relief.
Right. So then I start crashing. My husband and I have 25 years. We were together 28, start going through a divorce, start becoming an empty nester. My organs are shutting down. I don't have the energy to work. So I had to sell my marketing company, one thing after another. And next thing I know, I'm on the couch 24/7, and like I said, organs are shutting down. My kids are making bets what organ's going to come out this year. Yeah.
Oh my
So
gosh.
after that
Okay.
we were in the second, third year of that. And I'm like, okay, this is not the kind of life that I want. This is not what I signed up for. I was actually mad, and I was mad at God. I was mad at myself. I would look in the mirror and go, who the hell are you? And how did you get here? And
Yeah.
ask have you ever asked yourself that question?
Oh
Like,
yeah.
what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like, who are you?
Right.
And
It's
why are you
true.
here? So
So many
anyway,
times we think that we're going to become this, that, this, that. And then sometimes we actually do become that. And then we're thinking, well, then why? I got everything
right.
I wanted. Why am I still miserable?
Yeah, why am I still miserable?
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, from the outside looking in, everyone's like, oh, Lara has everything. And so when I started going through the divorce and would tell people, they would just look at me like, what do you mean? What? Nothing's wrong. Like, but nobody knows. No one really truly knows what someone else is suffering with, or
Now,
what
did
they're.
you know that finally you were growing in a different direction and the marriage just wasn't right for you, and
Yeah, I
you knew it was going to
did.
be hard on your kids?
Yes, and we did counseling for years. During that time, I was depressed. Most of the time we were in counseling together and separately, because I wanted nothing more than to be like my parents and grandparents and married 50, 60, 70 years.
Yeah.
Like that was just part of my plan, but that wasn't necessarily God's plan for me.
Yeah.
So, and that was really hard to take, and as a embarrassing, to be able to, be married that long, and people were just confused. I was
Especially when
confused.
you're the pillar of the whole,
Yeah.
town or whatever, and you're
Yeah.
so involved, and all the moms know you, all the dads know you, the school, every the teachers
Yeah.
know you. Like,
All the teachers. I was working for the school system, PR director for the school system. So yeah, I mean, it was very, very frustrating and sad all at once. And when I had to give back the keys, sell my marketing company and give the keys back to the schools, and I basically like peeled off my whole identity and had to give it all back. And I don't know if you've ever had to do
oh
anything like
yeah,
that, but I think we all
oh
at some
yeah.
point get to that where we realize, okay, the house is gone, the kids are gone.
And they're the choices that you made too.
Yeah,
You know,
everything.
you
Yeah,
chose to leave the marriage. You chose to,
I did.
yeah,
Mhm.
right. I know. I went through the
Yeah.
same thing, and then all of a sudden everything's gone, and now you're like, now what do I do?
Now I'm just sitting here going, "Roo." So I
Yeah.
felt like I had, a seatbelt on me, which a lot of people are feeling that way right now with this virus thing. And
Yes.
and I was forced at that time in 2011, 2012 to go within. And at this time, I'm calling it a collective timeout. We're in this timeout. I had my timeout a few years ago, and I'm still getting kicked around now a little bit, as always. We all do. We all have layers of stuff. I work
So
on stuff
true.
every day. So,
And I just want people out there that are listening to just know that if you're in that space right now, it's okay, and you're not alone, and that there's a lot of people going through that, and just know that eventually things will start to make sense. You just have to
they
give it time and just be in the space that you're in. It's
It,
important,
it's
right?
it is important to be in that space and not to fight it, not to resist it, because I wanted nothing more than to take another pill and numb myself or run again. Where
Yeah.
could I run to? Where could I go? What could I do? I had to stay. I had to be still. And the things I learned on the couch during those year or two of not moving, not seeing a lot of people, I lost a lot of my friends. I've moved 5 times in 6 years across the country and back. I've moved a lot. Like, you lose your whole identity, but the things that I've learned have helped me today be able to help so many people, and really utilize the light language and the healings and the intuitive piece to a whole nother level that I couldn't even imagine. I couldn't have made this stuff up, and nor could I have even imagined where it was going to go.
Yeah, it's true. And I think sometimes, when you're in that sort of that rock bottom state, and I know, I've been there, you've been there, and I'm sure a lot of people listening have been, are there or have been there. You just have to really just know that when you make decisions like you're going to leave a marriage or leave a job or make huge drastic changes, know that it's not always going to be perfect on the other end. In fact, it's not going to be. And I remember saying that to myself, going, okay, this is what I'm doing. These are decisions I'm making. This next year is going to suck. And if
Right.
it's going to suck. And you just be like, all right, I'm going to jump in and it's totally going to be that way. And then you kind of, so that way you're not expecting anything. And then, and then in time, even though you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel at that moment, it's just give it time. Give yourself time to heal. Give yourself to rip that time to rip that identity away false identity that you've had.
Yeah, it is. It's a false
right?
identity and a false reality that we had built that wasn't even really me. When I think about it, I couldn't
Right.
shove myself back in that box if I wanted to. And I don't know about you, to be that person that you were years ago. I couldn't. I can't.
No, you change, you evolve, you become something, you come stronger. Like
Yeah.
I have issues with control. So if anybody tries to control me, that just will not happen anymore.
Same here. Like, don't even think about it.
And it's true. Sometimes when you're in that space too, and you're in that, that low point, I've burned bridges. I've had friendships end. I've not, I wasn't I didn't have the right tools to deal with certain situations or people properly. And I lost some friendships too. And you know what? That's okay.
Same here. That's
yeah.
okay. It's okay.
So then moving forward, I know that you had that one day where you're like, I'm going to go to this yoga class or whatever. I love your whole story. So it's just so great. Okay. So you've been in this space for a while. How long? Yeah. And then what was that first moment that sort of...
Yeah. And then I think it was fall of 2011, a girlfriend drugged me to a meditation class. Now
she made you go.
She did. She drugged me. And meditation, and I was just involved in a Protestant Christian church, and they really did not believe in meditation, and they didn't really even promote us doing yoga and things like that. There were a couple of years I didn't even let my kids trick or treat, which was, plain silly now that I think about it. But anyway, I was really on, one side of the spectrum, but nothing that the church offered or that I could find was helping me get well. So my girlfriend drugged me to this meditation class. And
nice. Okay.
I know, right? She's like, come with me, come hang out with me. So I went, and there was, the group of maybe, 8, 10 of us. And I was hooked from that moment because, and I think it was pretty much immediately, the person running it spoke light language and did the meditation with it.
You think you're going for a yoga class, and then there's this, because the light language I've heard
I knew it wasn't yoga. I knew it wasn't yoga. Yeah.
It was a meditation.
Yeah, I knew it was a meditation, but to me, I really didn't know what that meant.
Right. Have you ever been to a meditation class before?
No, because to me it was bad. So I felt like I was doing something wrong. So then I have all this guilt on me, that I'm doing something wrong. But I was so desperate to get well. I had to make a choice on the couch. I had to make a choice. Do I want to live?
Yes.
And if I'm going to live, what are you going to do different? And that is what propelled me. And at the time I was still married, and he knew I was going to the meditation class, and what my husband did, and was fine with it, anything to get Lara well and get her to, not go through the divorce and, on and on. So
he was trying.
He was trying. Yeah, he was trying in his own way as best he could. And I knew that all along that he was doing the best that he really could. He had hit his ceiling.
You're right.
But I had blown past his ceiling and I wasn't resonating with him anymore, and was not able to stay.
Because you were at a much higher vibration.
World.
So,
yeah.
And I really, that happens.
It does.
It's interesting. As you grow and you raise your vibration, same thing happened to me. I had friendships just sort of fall aside. I've divorced just like you did. Yeah. So it's very interesting. And that's not a bad thing. So this is a good thing. It's okay. Don't feel bad that you just don't resonate with that person anymore.
Yeah. But it's all the other stuff. Oh, but I wanted to stay married. I'm tearing the kids apart now, in the house, and this world, this false world that we built, and this bubble, and I burst it for everybody. And so, then I had to feel bad about that for a while. But anyway, so yeah, I kept going to meditation weekly, and I did that for a couple years. But and
what would you
that's,
say to people though that are about to make that decision? Because I went through it too, and you know that your kids were probably very angry and upset and this and that, and you just know that when the day comes and you have to be the bearer of that news, like, what would you say to people out there that are in your situation? They know they need to make the same decision and they feel like they can't. They don't want to upset everybody else.
yeah, if they know, I think we all know, we really know deep in our
Yeah,
heart
we
whether
do.
we're supposed to stay or not.
Yeah.
And if we're truly trusting that,
Mm-hmm.
when we get quiet and we listen inside, and if our body kind of contracts or constricts when we think about the spouse or staying married or whatever it is, when that is, you're done. And so unless there's some kind of change that you really know that you can make or you want to make, you're okay. It's okay to go. And you're not being true to yourself if you stay. If
Yeah.
you're worried about what everybody else thinks, and I was, and we are, right? We're worried about what's
Oh yeah.
everybody, our parents going to think, or their parent, all of that. The time we were taking care of his elderly mom and his elderly brother, they were sick, you worry about everybody else. And then now we got to tell the kids and
Oh,
break
it's
it,
just, it's
break
so
it,
hard.
right.
It's
All
so
of it, break it
stressful.
apart. But when
Yeah.
you really dive deep, we all know whether we're supposed to stay or
Yeah, we do.
not. And when I realized, one, that he was doing the best job that he could, and he couldn't give me any more, that was a changing point for me. And the second thing that I realized is that he was, what was it? I was just going to say, when he realized that he had done, he couldn't give me anything else. And I was holding him back from having a happier life and being with
Right.
someone who could be the loving wife that he wanted moving forward.
Yeah.
When I knew he could be with someone better that could love him right where he was, and wasn't going to push him to grow with me. That those two things helped me be able to go, it's okay.
Yeah,
For
that's
me.
a pretty solid answer on your side on what you need to do.
But
And
I had to go through that. It was gut wrenching for a year and a half. And I
yeah.
sat and looked at the divorce papers, even though I'm the one who filed, and it took me a year and a half. And then I sat and looked at them for 30 days. I still didn't want it. I never wanted to be divorced, but
Yeah.
I had to choose me. It was the first time I had ever chose me.
Wow.
I know.
So that's a big deal. So that happens. And what was that? Oh my goodness. So what was that day like when you chose yourself and you walked out on a limb and
Gut wrenching. I didn't want to choose me. Isn't that weird? I didn't want.
It's a habit.
It's a habit.
Yeah.
It's a habit. It's easier to make everybody else take care of everyone else and make
Totally.
everyone else happy, right?
And it's a part of running.
It's a part of running.
It's a part
I was
of running.
really good at that.
Right.
I was really good at that.
So then you do that, and then you're trying to get past that next stage, and you're healing. You go to this meditation class. The first time you heard the light language, I mean, wow, what was that like?
I was blown away. My body started, I call it shaking, but it was really vibrating because of the higher vibration coming in. And I was changing so quickly. Things that I had struggled with all my life just fell away. I was healing. So my body was physically healing. I was emotionally healing. I just felt a lot lighter. I felt different. I looked different. People would say, "What are you doing? You look so much younger." And so there were all these things that were happening. And at the same time, I'm feeling guilty for going to a meditation class. And
but that's just your ego. That's just your
right. That's just all of that
noise.
crap.
Yeah, but I understand that because it's different.
It is.
So
It was
totally different. I mean, you're used to going to church and leading the Bible,
exactly.
Sunday Bible class. Yeah.
How am I going to tell people that about this. So it was
Yeah.
just my girlfriend and I, really the two of us, and we didn't really know the other people until later. So I did that for a couple years, and probably about, I don't know, a few months in, I personally started
Changing.
the channeling and the light language came through me. And so that's when,
Wow.
it's a really cool piece. That's when I remembered as a little girl, I actually spoke it and write it. And I did it as a little girl, but I had shut it down. But I didn't,
No way. And you
yeah,
didn't realize that until that. And how many
until
classes of this had you
uh,
gone to before this happened?
months. And
Oh,
so
months.
until
Okay.
it started coming through me, and then I had this flashback, and I remembered all of the times as a little kid, myself channeling it. And you may even have heard kids maybe speaking gibberish or
Yeah.
writing things that look like Egyptian hieroglyphics,
Yeah.
light language. And so many kids, these little ones nowadays, are so attuned to the higher vibrations, and they speak it, and it's not, you're just thinking, oh, it's gibberish. No, it is light language. They are talking to the angels.
So if there's some moms out there and their kids are doing this, where do you take your kids? Who do you like? What do you
Yeah.
do?
Yeah. Just encourage them to play and to talk
Give you a
to.
phone call. That's what they
Yeah,
need
yeah,
to
and
do.
call me. Of course, call me. I work with kids all the time. Yeah. I
Okay.
work with babies all the way up to in the 90s. So yes, absolutely.
So then you start healing, you're noticing this huge transformation. And at the same time, you're dealing with who you really are as a person, your
Right.
self-identity. Who am I? I used to
Right.
be this for so many years.
Yeah.
And now
Well,
it's
for a long time,
becoming,
I wanted to hide it. So I was kind of like an underground light language.
ah,
So I kept it underground because my biggest fear, and you will laugh, my biggest fear was, until I knew that I had control of the transmissions and the channeling. Well, my biggest fear was that I would blurt it out in line at the grocery store.
so you
So
didn't have control of it at first? Like you would just,
no, I did, but I didn't know it. You know, you're still new. I was still new to it. So I didn't,
yeah.
that was my biggest fear at first was, am I going to be at the grocery store and, everyone knows me there? I mean, when you're in a small town and everybody knows you and you've lived there 30 years, this is an issue. And then all of
Wow.
a
So you're
sudden,
secretly going through this huge
so
self
I'm secretly
transformation.
right.
Did your
And
friends know about it? Did you have like one
no,
person?
I had one
Oh
person. I had
my
one
goodness.
person. I had one
Okay.
one person, and then I started working on a handful of people that were kind of spread out of not even in my town, but close to my town. So I'm originally from Indianapolis, Indiana, so Midwest. So then now I didn't tell you we're in the Midwest. We're in very conservative
Yeah,
Midwest.
that's a whole
Yes.
other layer. That's a whole other layer. So you're secretly taking on clients. So are you still married at this
Mhm.
time?
No, yeah,
Okay.
going through the divorce. It was
Going
during
through.
that
Okay.
year and a half. Yeah.
But you're
So
secretly
during,
taking on clients. Your kids don't know about it. Your ex doesn't, no one knows about it. Your friends don't know
no,
about it. Oh my
no.
goodness. This is so amazing. That
So
takes
I'm
a
like
lot of
under,
bravery.
yeah, well, it was one of those where my soul was like, you're doing this
Yeah.
or you're going to die. Like it was like, this is what you came for. I became so alive doing
Yeah.
it, and what it did for other people, it did for me. So
Wow.
I wanted to do it all day long. Um, and so I just started working on people, and the people that needed it showed up, and it kind of went from there. While I was on the couch, I started writing also as a way to heal. It was a way to get the trauma out of my body. And that
Yeah.
was what I needed to do. Um, and then I got just really curious about the light language, and okay, how does this language actually change me? So then I started studying energy and energy fields, and that really actually blew open my intuitive piece at being able to see auras and the energy fields of people and places and things and homes and land and events, all kinds of things,
Like if
which
somebody wants to, I love how you say, well, I just started learning, researching. Like if somebody wants to, if they feel like they have a calling, some kind of a spiritual calling,
Mhm.
what do you mean research? Like what is
Be
something,
curious. Yeah, be curious. And that was really all I did every day. I was like, I wonder
do you read
what this,
books? Do
I,
you,
I did some, most of it I got all intuitively because, and part of it, what I did that on purpose was because I wanted it to be pure, and I didn't want to steal from anybody else. Now I have read books and I, have incorporated things, but I try to read them after the fact, after
Yeah.
I've learned, and then it kind of is confirmation for me. Then it's confirmation later. Occasionally I'll get different pieces. For me, it was more experimental. And okay, I'm going to go try this different kind of quantum healer or this one, and see, kind of add in different healers and see, well, I liked what they did, I didn't like what they did, and then I combined, tried different coaches, and just to kind of see, okay, well, I really liked what they did and didn't like that at all, going to do things different.
So you learned from other healers as well.
Absolutely.
Tried everything.
I tried it all. I was your human experiment.
So you did everything, like sound baths and whatever.
Yeah, I've tried all the fun things. Yeah. And some of them worked, some of them didn't. And I encourage people to try,
Everything.
what works for you. Yeah. And at some point you go, okay, well, that was fun, or that worked for me, or that didn't, this resonated, this didn't.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. You learn from it. You learn something.
And it takes time.
And it takes time. You can't just take all your trauma and throw it in the garbage and be done in 30-minute session.
Right.
That isn't how life is. We've got piles of stuff stuck in our energy field, and some of it isn't even ours. Some of it is generational stuff, and it takes time.
How do you know if it's generational? Is it something that
I ask? I ask intuitively, but generally, you can tell if you know for a fact that, like, your mom struggled with something and you struggle with the same thing. That's generally a generational thing.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So you just to pay attention to that.
To pay attention. Oh, it's very important. Yes. And sometimes once I clear it in you, or if I cleared it in your mom, then it's gone in the other person. And that's what's so cool about what I do, is that it clears it all generationally, not just the generations after you, like your daughters, my sons, but the generations that have passed on before us. Grandma, great-grandma, grandparents, great-grandparents. They were not able to do the amazing things on earth that we do today. And so the work that we do, the spiritual work that we do, frees them. And so they're like cheerleaders up there for us, because they really want us to, to succeed.
That's incredible. And what is it like when you are, because I know that you've talked to me about, you hear voices, you see images, so what, like, do you ever get it where, somebody's walking down the street and you feel like you need to tell that person something, or?
I don't. I've had that happen to me, where
someone's just walked up and said something to you.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
It happened to me a couple times, but I really not want to intrude in people. And I'll be at dinner and someone will hear what I do and they're like, oh, don't read me. And I'm like, don't worry, I'm shut down right now. Like I have to shut myself down, or it's too much. At first, when I first was so open, dead people were showing up all the time.
Oh my goodness. What is that like?
It's not fun. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry head were showing up. And
just when you're sitting in your room, or when you're out in public?
Everything. So yeah, any 24/7. So I was, woken all night, people needing help crossing over. And I was like, okay, and at first I didn't understand that I got to choose. Do I want to talk to these people? Do I, is this the kind of work I want to do? I get to choose. You get to choose. We all get to choose within our realm, and I had to, set my energetic boundaries, my spiritual boundaries. And so, but at first, years ago, I thought, oh, I got to help everybody. No, you can't. You don't have the energy for it. So, yeah.
Yeah. It's what is it like when a spirit comes to you and says, I need help crossing over? I know it's not like that, but what is it like?
It kind of is like that.
Is it?
It is. It is. A lot of times they're confused. So all they know is they're looking for the light, and then they see you, and you're the light, or I'm the light, and there's lots of lights out there. And so they glob onto you, and then you're like, why do I feel so heavy all of a sudden? Well, you actually may have a whole nother person on you. That can happen a lot of times. And so I can usually see that on people. And then I talk to them and find out, why are you there? And maybe they don't even know the person. Most of the time they don't. and they just were like, well, I don't know where I'm going. I'm just here hanging out. So, and then I help them move on so that they can set you free. Cause it can be heavy. We can feel all of a sudden heavy and burdened. I was talking to a client today, and she's like, I have been wanting to eat everything in sight. And I know, right? I think
Yeah,
that's
you were
happening to a
talking
lot
to
of
somebody.
people.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that,
I mean, I've had those days too, especially in quarantine.
yeah, quarantine. I think that it's very common right now, but for her, I had seen like this almost, it was almost, I call it, there's spirits, there's ghosts, it was almost like a entity like thing on her. And it comes and goes on this particular client. And whenever it's there, she wants to eat all the time. And when I took it off a couple days ago, and then she's been fine since. So it's things like that. Those are the things
That's so
that
interesting.
energy work does. When we can clear these people off of us,
Yeah.
the extra energy off of us, all the trauma stuck in us, we can actually find out who the heck we are and move forward. Right. I mean, and it takes a while to dig in there and find that. Right.
Now it does. It definitely does. And I feel like now there's more people sort of open to the idea of quantum physics. And I know that you're talking about that plus.
Right.
But
Well, yeah. Dr. Joe stuff. And
we love Joe
Greg Braden,
Dispenza.
right. Greg Braden and all the amazing stuff that those guys do. Absolutely.
Bruce Lipton's another one.
Bruce Lipton, another great one. Yep.
Yeah. They, I really am very happy that they're sort of paving the way for so many, 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 many more people like yourself to feel like you can come out and be one of the light workers and healers, and not everybody go, she's crazy, I don't understand what she's saying, and because the idea of quantum physics is quite fascinating, and either you believe it or you don't. But the interesting thing too is that, like, I tested out some of the philosophies just by doing Life Masters, meeting people like you, and interviewing over 50 people. I started to implement some of these quantum physics types of ways and habits and thoughts.
Right.
And it works. It really does. But it takes time. Sometimes it doesn't, though. Sometimes
it doesn't.
Like, what is that? So tell me what that, like, why do some things take so long and then some things just, when the gates open, it can flood sometimes too. Either way, bad or good.
It's how attached we are to it. Like, how bad do we want this? Then we're not going to get it. It's kind of, part of it is what's the energy we're putting out there. So everything has some energy to it. Sometimes when women want a man so bad, I can look at their energy field, but they're actually repelling them. They're actually maybe repelling the opposite sex, and they don't even know they're doing it. It's all subconscious. It could be, it's stuck a lot of times on the outside of their field, or it's way down deep, and it's from maybe a generational issue from that one of their parents that is stuck in there, and it's actually sending out a repelling, although their heart is, I want to, this, or I want that, but there's something else out here that's actually repelling it. So that's one of the things. Sometimes it goes fast and sometimes it doesn't. And that's the thing with this work, is I've had to learn is the how it happens, and the when is not up to me. I have to get myself out of the way. I have to trust that whatever the highest and the best is for the client, for me, it is happening, and remind them as well as myself that the how it happens and whatever it is they want, and the when it happens, it's not up to us.
Yeah.
That is, I have to hand that over. And that's a tough one.
Well, that's probably up to them, up to their whatever level. I mean, it's words.
We
are
all
hard
have our
to
life
explain.
lessons.
Yeah.
I have a whole pile of them.
Me too. I'm definitely still going through mine.
I know, darn it.
I know. Have you ever had a client that you just couldn't read?
No. I've had 2 clients who said, you can't read me. Like, who sat down like this.
But they're your clients, so they're asking for help.
Right. So they paid, and they're sitting there, and they got their arms folded. And
so what do you do when that happens? Because like,
So
what are they there for?
yeah, what are they there for? So so one of them, someone else had paid for them to come, and the
Oh,
other person was just curious, like, no one can ever read me. I want to see if you can read me. Both of them I was able to read. The first one was in tears, and a loved one who had passed came through, in so that was, it was beautiful. And the other one, yes, it was great. So when people are that way, um I don't take it personally, but they have to, at some level they were open, or they wouldn't have been sitting there, and for me to get the information,
yeah.
whatever information that I needed. But we get to open or shut our energy field for other people to read it. So that's kind of important when you're out and about, and when your listeners are out and about, to know that if you don't want other people to know anything about you or your field, because there are people who do walk around and want to go up to people and tell them things. And I don't necessarily want that. That's like somebody putting hands on you that you don't know,
Mm-hmm.
and somebody else messing in your energy field that maybe you don't want. And so without, I don't like that so
I don't
much.
like that either. I always wonder I've had that
Yeah.
happen too, and I don't know what
Yeah.
their intention is. I always feel like
Yeah. And,
people have,
and when people, so I have a lot of parents hire me to work on their teenage kids or their 20-year-old kids. And they're like, they're all messed up, or, they say that or whatever. And I've done some missing children's cases, a few of those. And so I don't have to have like the child's permission. If all I need is a birth date and a picture and a full name, and then I ask their higher self for permission, um, to work on them. And they've always, for the most part, said yes. Some business clearings I've done, when we work on the employees, there's usually, a few employees here or there who don't want any work done. And those usually are the employees that are gone pretty quickly, because once we raise the vibration of the business, they can't stay in it, because
oh, interesting.
they didn't want to rise with the business.
Now, the people that you work on that are kids or whatever, do you do it in a way where the parents, they're like, here's the picture, the birth date, all the information you need, but I didn't tell them that we're getting this done?
They do it all. It's all up to the parent differently. So
Oh, so
sometimes,
you can ask for a blessing and the child doesn't even know that the parent's done it.
yes.
Oh,
And so
interesting.
then I record it and I'll send it to them. And about half the time the parent shares it with them, and the other half they don't.
Oh,
So,
nice.
and
Okay.
so then we
Wow.
just watch to see the transformation.
But the work has been done and it doesn't have to be in person. It's amazing
Yeah.
how it doesn't have to be done in person. How does somebody like you heal somebody who's like 3,000 miles away? How does that
Yeah,
happen?
you do that all the time. I have clients in Australia. I'm in Florida. Although I love to travel and I want to go to Australia, I don't have to. Energy is beautiful. It can never be destroyed, but it can be transmuted. And so it doesn't matter whether they're in the same room with me or thousands, hundreds of thousands of miles away, as long as I'm setting the same intention, the same everything.
Yeah.
Um, I have the client, so remote ones, we just use headphones. I have them lay down and I'm here, and then I go through my spiel with them, looking at their energy field and going through all the energy centers. Kind of like how we did with you when we did that. I had you lay down, and then we went back and forth with the intuitive information and then the light language and clearing the actual areas.
Yeah.
So
It was
yeah,
amazing.
it doesn't matter. And especially if they're energy sensitive, you feel the vibration, you feel the shaking, you feel energy leave your body. Sometimes you feel new energies come in, you feel different things. So
You do.
everyone.
I have to share a little story about you because
Okay.
so it's so funny because when I signed, I met you at because you're a speaker as well, and you're a very good speaker. So I met you at something that we were both learning and speaking at with Adam Markell, his class. And I remember that was the first time I actually heard you do the light language, and something really, really resonated with me that day, which made me want to do another healing with you. So I first signed on, I signed up, I went to your website, the whole thing. I didn't know that you were actually going to do a reading. I thought you were I was going to lay there and you were going to do the light language.
Oh, you
So
got it
I
all.
didn't know. No. So, but the one thing, there was a bunch of stuff that you said that was so dead on, like, but the main thing is that, so I can't talk about, exactly what it is, but I had been through my own rock bottom, all about it. I finally, I ended up getting another television series, and here I am I mean, the most exciting news of my life, because I've been out of work for a while, finally get a new show. I am so excited about this new show. And Lara says to me, so are you sure that this is,
I
never
put a little
forget.
dampen your spirits. Sorry.
Yeah, you're like, are you sure that you really want to be doing this show? And I said, yeah, I mean, yeah. And you're just like, are you sure? Because yeah, you're not going to finish the first season. And this was literally a week before I left.
You were getting ready to leave.
Yeah. And I was going to shoot
It's so
20
hard for me to
episodes.
say this. Yeah.
Pardon?
But it's hard for me to, when it comes through, to say it, but it's like I have to blurt it and tell you right then. Yeah.
And I was so confused.
I know.
20 episodes. And I'm just like, I have every intention of finishing the 20 episodes. I don't know what this means. And you're like, yeah, but you're not going to be upset about it. You're just going to kind of slide over.
You're really confused. You're like, what?
You're just like, I don't know, something is going to come out of this, but you're going to be okay with it. And you just kept saying, you're going to be okay. It's all going to work out okay. And I was confused. And I mean, there was a bunch of other stuff that you had said too. So lo and behold, 2 weeks later, after 7 episodes, I had to come back, and I did not finish the season. Now I'm planning on finishing it later.
Yes.
But no, I mean, this was before the coronavirus had really taken, effect. This was a couple of weeks, but only a few weeks, 2-3 weeks. You didn't know about it. I didn't know about it. And this is the first time in 25 years that I've been working that I didn't finish a season. Like, it was just so mind blowing. And you made me feel secure in the sense that you're like, but you're going to be okay. Things are going to still be okay. You're just going to kind of slide over into something.
Yeah.
But honestly, Lara, like, the fact that you said that, and I mean, it was pretty mind blowing. It was mind blowing that you said a bunch of other stuff too. And that was absolutely just right for me and helped me. And you're just so very gifted. And yeah. And then I took one of your, if you go to Lara's website, you do these group healings as well, which I signed up for. I was like, oh, I want to sign up right away. And we did a group healing the other night. And I loved it. Like, it was just the second you start doing your healing, you start speaking the love language, my whole body just starts to vibrate, just like what you said the first time you felt it.
Yeah, it was like you vibrate.
It's just, but it's instant from the second that word comes out of your mouth, the first one, and it's not even a word. I don't even know what you're saying, but my body just starts to, from head to toe, you just feel all this.
You just melt. Yeah.
Yeah. And I tried to explain it to you the other night too. It's this familiar yet not familiar, friendly, very female energy, very kind, very gracious, energy. And it's addictive. So I understand.
That's how I feel. It's like, who can I work on today?
Yeah.
Work on myself. Mm-hmm.
You have a gift. It's pretty incredible. And, so I just, well, where else can we learn more about you? You have your website.
Yes. Please come to the website, larajay.com, LARAJAYE.com. And I've got some really fun new things coming out. I've got a energy collection series coming out, energy clearing collection. In 33 days in a row, you're going to get really short, like 7-minute meditations, all light language from me. So
wow.
And what I love about the light language, and I call them meditations, normally you have to take the time. You can't do them while you're driving. So light language, you can listen to anytime, anywhere, whatever you're doing. It fills the room. It fills the room with the love, and it fills your body. It fills your field, the room, wherever you're at. And you can be asleep, you can be awake. You don't have to pay attention. That's what I love. Now you can, but you don't have to.
So you could just sign up and then just play
Yes.
your meditations before you go to bed or before when you just
Mhm.
anytime.
Yep.
As long
Anytime.
as you can hear it.
As long as you can hear it. But
Sometimes you can have it
it'll,
so low that you don't really hear it so much.
right,
But yeah.
right, absolutely. So that's coming out actually. It'll be
I
out by
can't
the time
wait.
this comes out. It comes out next week.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'll be signing up for that.
Yay.
I love it.
Thank
Well, and then you're going to be speaking more too, as well. As
Lots
soon
more
as this.
speaking on our energy fields and what to do, how to master our energy to be the strongest and best, and keep us really clear mind. Clarity is so important, and it keeps us balanced, all of it. But it starts with going within, and
Yeah.
that's what, this time that's how I started years ago. That's how all of us are kind of being forced to right now with the virus, and is stay home. We've gotten this little timeout, and to go within and really, who do you want to be? Who do you want to be? And how do you want to show up in the world? And it's such a gift. I'm so excited to have this gift of slowness, to just really recalibrate and to show up how we're meant to.
So people that are out there that want to connect more with their spiritual side during this time, they're alone, and which is a great place to be when you are connecting spiritually. What are some things that they can do to sort of start that journey if they've never really, they just know they have this calling, but they don't know how to start it?
Yeah, 4 things really quickly. Number 1 is get still, be still. And that if you've got to slow down, which we're kind of being forced to slow down, but it's being still and now and not running. And number 2, it's managing the mind chatter, because then what happens when we slow down, and part of the reason we run is because we don't want to hear our mind and all the things we tell ourselves. So we got to really manage the mind chatter and listen to what it is we're telling ourselves and become aware and notice that. Huge, huge, huge. Number 3, be more mindful. Mindful is bringing in the 5 senses in all we do. We're all meant to slow down and enjoy our meals and enjoy. I made chocolate cake today. The first time I think I've baked in, I don't know, it may have been a decade. And it was the most decadent chocolate cake ever. And not only have I not baked, but I certainly haven't eaten it and enjoyed it. And I did. And I don't feel bad. So,
But it's important not to feel bad when you do
it's important.
especially if you don't always do that and it's a treat. Don't feel bad doing it. Last night I had vanilla ice cream with like maple syrup on it. So that's my little
I love that.
Anyway,
I love that. Anyway, number 4, and the 4th thing really quick is writing, get it. So the key is, and why counseling is so good and speaking with a coach or anything, is because we're getting it out of our body. So anytime we can write, it gets it out of our body, the trauma out of our body, or if we talk to a friend, that's why we feel better. That's why we want to pick up the phone. But not always do other people need to hear everything that we have going on here. So that's where writing is really helpful, whether it's journaling or
like even speaking into a phone where you record yourself speaking, just something to document your feelings, I guess, right? And see
it's speaking it and voicing it gives voice to it. It helps you acknowledge what's in your body and what you're feeling, and it helps you reconnect to yourself, which is what we all need to do, because we're so oftentimes disconnected. We're running so hard. We don't need to be anymore. We can enjoy this.
It's true. Very nice. Very wise words. And just thank you so much for your time. I could speak to you for another 5 hours.
I know, you and I could talk
for a long time.
Next time we'll be in our jammies and we'll hang out and do it.
Yeah. One of these times I would love, and I don't know if you'd be up for it, but I would love to do like some kind of a healing where people can see exactly what you do.
I would love that.
Would you love to do that and expose that?
I would love to do that.
The people that are. Yeah. Okay.
Amen.
Maybe we'll do that on my Facebook page. That's where I have a lot of followers and stuff. So that might be really.
I would love that.
Okay. Let's plan that. We'll do that next week or the week after when we have some quiet time, and I have to take a deep breath. But I think that would be wonderful for people to actually see what you do and see how incredible you are. So, but I think they can already see that from this interview. So
And
thank
many
you so much
people
for
as
your
I can
time.
help, I would be thrilled. And I'm I'm out there now. I've come out of the closet,
Yes,
so
you
I'm not
have. Even
hiding this
from
anymore.
even from when I first met you, which was
Yeah, right,
almost a
exactly.
year ago. Yeah.
I was
Little
still
less than a year.
afraid to speak it out in public, and now I'm like,
No, you
it's
won't. You own it now. It's
yeah,
fantastic to see.
it's who I am. I'm
Yeah.
not going to deny that anymore. So
Yeah. I
thank you.
love it. Well, thank you. And if you guys want to binge watch more episodes of Life Masters, make sure you go to iTunes. You can hear them there. You can go to EverTalk TV, and there's a EverTalk app that you can see if you download, or if you have Apple TV. And you can download the app and watch all kinds of, I think I've done now 50 episodes, if not more, of Life Masters. So I'd love for you to check those out. Lots of life lessons, lots of meaningful little golden nuggets of information in each Life Master. I feel so blessed to have you on the show and all of my other wise people that I have learned from, and I've changed my life from learning from people like you. So I thank you very much. And we will set up a healing, and I'll let you guys all see the healing as well. I would love that. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lara.
Thank you.
You have just listened to another inspiring episode of Life Masters with Tanya Memme. To access the show notes for this episode or to listen to more shows, simply visit www.tanyamemme.com. Master your own life and be inspired to help others to succeed. Join us again next time here on Life Masters.